Hello students, this is Mrs. Gregorio and today we are covering Chapter 2, Lesson 1 on percent of a number. Please follow along with me, beginning on page 103. Our essential question is, how can percents help you understand situations involving money? So today we will learn how to find the percent of a number, and we'll be using percents greater than 100%. I want you to go ahead and turn to page 103. Please scan the rest of lesson 1. This is pages 103 to 106. List 2 headings you would use to make an outline of the lesson. I want you to write these 2 headings down on the top of page 103 under what you'll learn. When you're finished, complete the real world link on page 103 by filling in the chart and then answering questions 1 and 2. Pause the video now and take a few minutes to work on page 103. Okay, on page 104, here's our key concept. To find the percent of a number, such as 60% of 2,000, you can use either of the following methods. Method 1 is to write the percent as a fraction and then multiply. So for this, 60% would mean 60 per 100, which is 60%. That would be written as a fraction, and of course you can reduce it and multiply it. When it asks you for method 2, you can write the percent as a decimal instead of a fraction. A decimal of 60% would be, just moving the decimal 2 places to the left, 0.60. And then you continue to multiply. Here's a helpful hint that I want you to write down in the work zone on page 104. The word of often means to multiply. So whenever you see like 60% of 2,000, just think 60% times 2,000. Okay? You need to write that down, so you may need to pause right now and write down that the word of means multiply. Okay, example 1, page 104. It tells us find 5% of 300 by writing the percent as a fraction. The percent sign simply means out of 100. So instead of 5%, we can rewrite it as 5 out of 100. Now, in order to make it simpler, let's reduce this fraction. Let's divide it by 5 to the top and bottom, and that reduces to 1 over 20. So now we can take 1 over 20, which is 5%, of means multiply, and multiply that by 300. So 1 over 20 times 300, and you can rewrite 300 as 300 over 1. Now, in order to make this easier, let's take out some of our common factors. I know 20 can go into both 20 and 300. 20 can go into 20 one time. 20 can go into 300 15 times. Now we can multiply across. 1 times 15 is 15. 1 times 1 is 1. 15 over 1 is simply just 15. And we're finished. Okay. If you have any questions about example 1, please go ahead and write them down now. Let's move on to example 2. Find 25% of 180 by writing the percent as a decimal this time. So if you remember, 25%, in order to change the decimal or the percent into a decimal, start here, go 2 places to the left. So I'm going to move 25% 2 places to the left. There's our decimal point, and it becomes 0.25. 0.25 of, so that means multiply by 180. You can use a calculator for this. And when you multiply that out, you get, I'm going to show you the traditional algorithm way. That's 40, and that's 9. Put your 0 placeholder. 2 times 0, that's 16. And that's 3. You can add those up. And you get moving the decimal 2 times, 45. So 0.25 times 180 is 45.00, or simply just 45. So now I want you to complete the problems A through D on your own on page 104. You need to show all your work in order to receive credit. Pause the video now and continue to work on those problems. Now, this is our key concept on page 105. Using percents greater than 100%. Percents that are greater than 100% can be written as improper fractions. Oops, there's a mistake. Let me fix that. Mixed numbers or decimals greater than 1. Here's an example. 150% can be rewritten as 150 over 1. This is our improper fraction, which reduces to 3 over 2 if you divide out 50. You can change 3 over 2 and write it as a mixed number, 1 and 1/2, or you could even write it as a decimal. Just to review, 150% into a decimal means you move the percent sign 2 places to the left. There's our decimal point, and you get 1.5. All right, if you have any questions about this concept, write them down. If not, let's move forward. Example 3 on page 105 says find 120% of 75 by writing the percent as a fraction. So it tells us how they want it. We're going to change 120% into 120 out of 100 because this means per and 100 means cent. Okay? Now the word of is what we multiply by. So I'm going to multiply 120 over 100 times 75, and I'm going to make that over 1. Okay? So in order to make it easier, we can cross simplify or take out a common factor of 25. 25 goes into 75 3 times. 25 goes into 100 4 times. So now you can even further reduce 120 over 4, and you can make this 30 over 1 times 3 over 1, which equals 90. So that means 120% of 75 is 90. Since 120% is larger than 100% of 75, sorry about that, that means our answer of 90 should be larger than 75. Now on example 4, it asks us to find 150% of 28 by writing the percent as a decimal this time. So 150 as a decimal, we just move the decimal point 2 places over and you get 1.5 times 28. You can either multiply this out by hand or you can use a calculator. I'll show you how to do it by hand just in case you need some review. Okay, let's start in our ones column. That makes 40 and 14. Hold your 0. 1 times 8 is 8, and that's 2. Add up your digits and move the decimal 1 place to the left, and I get 42. Now, just by checking, 150%. 100% of 28 is 28. Okay? 50% of 28 would be 14. If I combine 100 and 150%, that'd be 150%. 28 plus 14 is 42. So I'm double checking by showing you a different method of just making sure that our answer seems accurate. Right now, I want you to complete E and F on page 105. Remember to show your work to receive full credit. Pause the video and continue to work those out. Now, example 5 is on page 106. It tells us to refer to the graph. If 275 students took the survey, how many can be expected to have 3 televisions each in their houses? So this survey results tells us the number of televisions in each house. Here we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and more than 4. The question just asks for 3 televisions. So I'm going to circle this part that I need to know here. And on the key, each television represents 5%. So by looking, we have 5, 10, 15, 20, and a little more, so that's about 23%. Now, if you have a total of 275 students, and we're looking about 23% of them according to the information in the table, I'm going to change 23 into a decimal, 0.23. Okay? The reason why I'm changing it into a decimal because 23 out of 100 might be a little more difficult to multiply. I think a decimal will be easier in this situation. So when you multiply 0.23 times 275, you can use a calculator. You should get 63.25. So it says, the question's asking how many can be expected to have televisions in their houses. My answer would be about 63 students because we cannot have a decimal as a student. So I'm going to say 63 students would have 3 televisions in their house. And you can just show that in a complete sentence to show that you understand. Right now, I want you to complete G on page 106. And then in class tomorrow, we're going to go over the guided practice together. So I will be checking your notes from the examples that we worked on together. Please be ready and be prepared to share any questions you have. I hope you have a great night, and I'll see you in class tomorrow. Bye-bye.